You can still run into situations, especially in estate planning, where you might have three brothers who are supposed to inherit a ranch, but for some reason they don't get along, they don't agree, and in that situation, again, it creates a lot of friction. Fortunately, in most modern day ranches, they have diversified portfolios. Most large ranches have a wide number of investments, such in the stock market. They also usually operate 2 or 3 businesses in addition to just the farming aspect of the ranch. And so again, even when you have a really hotly contested ranch dispute, it rarely comes down to selling the ranch. Typically you can break off pieces of the ranch, either the businesses or the investments, or you can separate out the cattle from the agriculture, and again, create 2 viable vehicles for 2 people to inherit. In the most contested cases, the ranch does end up getting sold because you just can't reach an agreement, and the real estate, again, is the most valuable aspect of the ranch. And if people won't give some grace to allowing the entity to survive, the end effect is it will go on the open market sale, usually through a partition type action. And the current buyers in Montana are not your neighbor. They're almost always an out-of-state wealthy corporation or a wealthy individual who will pay, in some cases, 1.5, 2 times the value of the ranch of what the agricultural asset is, simply because, again, large ranches like you find in Montana just don't go up for sale in the world very often. And so you see buyers from all over coming in to acquire a 10,000 acre ranch because it's one of the only times you're going to be able to do so. And in those cases, once it goes on the market, the family loses it and they're never getting it back. A huge aspect of succession planning in Montana is always the family ranch or the family cabin situation. Many families have what we will refer to as an heirloom property, something they truly want to remain in the family for generation after generation. And they never really want that asset sold, or even possibly sold by a later generation. And so what we do in those type of situations is usually use either entity formation, like a corporation, where we can basically distribute shares to all the family members and make it very difficult for any one family member to have enough control to sell the asset. Or we can move that asset into what they refer to as an irrevocable trust. And once it's in that irrevocable trust, it kind of does what it says on the tin. It's an irrevocable transfer. And the family members in that trust really have no legal basis for selling it without potentially going to court and begging permission, which the judge is not going to easily grant unless it is the only possible option out of a long list of options, that would somehow help the family in that situation. And as in the cases where we have seen ranches sold out of irrevocable trusts, it was almost always created by either there was just no heirs left to inherit, or because some emergency had happened and the ranch needed to be sold to pay for somebody's long-term medical costs. But in most situations, that irrevocable trust is going to protect the asset for generation after generation. And again, your kids, your grandkids are going to be able to enjoy that asset for generations to come.